Yeah, hi all. Welcome to another session of Mock Interviews. I'm Ankit Jain. So this is me, Ankit Jain. So I'm a technical architect at MNC, Waiting certified. I'm active in Salesforce events. This is my LinkedIn URL and this is the QR code for that. Feel free to connect with me. And for upcoming sessions, I keep that information written on my LinkedIn. And also, you can join this WhatsApp group where we share the technical content, upcoming job opportunities, and also I keep the updated information around the future sessions active on this WhatsApp group. And in case you want to have a one-to-one session with me, you can book the slots through my topic account. So today we'll be covering the advanced topic scenarios of trigger. So I hope my screen is visible. Are you able to see the screen and see the advanced trigger scenarios?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
I can.
okay. So what I will do is I will first copy with any of those scenarios into the notepad so that when I write the code, I'm able to relate it to a little better. So ABC Corp wants to implement a trigger that automatically updates the total revenue field on the related account whenever a new opportunity record is created or an existing one is updated. It should be sum of the account of all the related opportunity records. Okay, so what we need. Yeah. So today we have this is the scenario we have. So two things in that. It talks about total revenue field. This is on opportunity, and second is account. On account, they want a total revenue field. Sorry, whenever a opportunity is created or updated, that should update the on the opportunity we have the regular amount field. It's a standard field. Pretty much it denotes like how much amount of revenue that opportunity will be generating in. So what we want is for that particular account, there could be multiple opportunities, like say OPP1, OPP2. Suppose this amount is 10 rupees and this is like say 20 rupees. So what should happen is on this account, we should have the value updated to 30. So let's understand it. Let's break it. If what it is clearly mentioning whether new opportunity is created or an existing one is updated. So what is the trigger would be on which object? It should be opportunity, right?
Yes,
Okay, so what we will be doing is we'll start writing the trigger. So this is a normal trigger framework that we'll be using in. Now the update has to be made across the object. So it should be on account. On account, whenever I have that, while creating the opportunity, I already have the account with me. I don't think I would need the ID. So I would be making it before insert and before update. Logic is very clear. If I need the ID of the rated record, wherever I'm inserting, suppose from I on opportunity line item, I wanted to do something. So I would need the opportunity ID. So I will have to go with after. But here it's on, we need the account ID because the information would have to be updated on the account. So here we don't need that. We'll see. We are just getting started with this. So let's see, like as and when required, we should be doing the changes. So I'm just copying the code for the I trigger handler. I trigger. See, whenever in interviews they ask you to do solve any scenarios, always follow the best practices. Have a simple interface and the trigger handler and all of that. You will notice the changes as and when we do it. So this is the trigger. I will also pay it. I hope you all know about the interfaces And why do we need that? We need them. If someone doesn't know, let me just uh, say it very clearly. Interface is actually a contract. Like whenever if you have to implement, if you want to use or make any class follow a particular set of rules, you create an interface. Because without that, if you write like implement any interface, you will have to override and throw the definition for these. So for the same reason, like we have also done it, and in all the means trigger frameworks, you would notice like all implement either interfaces or they implement or they are asked to extend the abstract classes as well. So it's an open-ended thing. See, what the best practice says is you should have a domain class where you write the actual logic. You don't write any logic inside the trigger handler. If what I'm saying is doesn't make any sense, please let me know. I can explain it. So what we'll be doing is like on the after insert, like what we'll be doing is after creating this on this trigger, we'll be collecting all those IDs. Like let me just first write the definition of any method. Like let's say it like count uh, sum, calculate sum. I write the trigger code at the very last, calling as well at the very last. First, what I need is the logic. So what our logic would do is it's an after. So what I can do is instead of, I will can also have a ID of ID comma. Let's see, we'll add that as a parameter. By chance we will need it, we'll use that. Otherwise, we will just keep it as it is. So what I need is like from those opportunity, I need to extract all the accounts. So I will have to iterate it. Set of IDs. The only reason we are using set because if there are multiple, we don't want to add duplicate IDs and then make the queries inefficient. Now what I will do is like using this account ID, I will query an account. Let's call it total revenue, which would be custom field. what I want is I want to get all of those opportunities as well with me. I can do an inner query. This would be child relationship name. So whatever is the actual child relationship name, I assume it should be opportunities only, but it would be a child relationship name, whatever as per the logic. Okay. So what we'll be doing is okay. So invitation was actually not coming up right. So I assume it should be decimal. So this is our core logic. What we are doing in is we are getting the child opportunities, iterating over all of those, calculating that amount, and then just assigning it to the account and then doing that TML. Now what I will have to do is we'll have to do the following. Initially we routed before update, but I will tell you the reason like why we should ideally be using after update in this scenario, because in the before update, if due to some reason, if it is there's an error comes up, then the information will be updated wrongly. So that's the reason like in before, like if you want any critical information to be written back, you always go with after. Although if it's like not on the same if it's on the same object as well. Your critical scenarios, it's always better to go with after, like because in the after, if we go with the order of execution of triggers, like let me just go over that diagram. So this is the after triggers. Four also will be there. Before triggers, yeah. Before update would come in, and then again these validation rules would come in after the system validation rules are. Means after executed before again the validation rules would come in. So due to some reason the validation fails, and you don't have the proper handling of the transaction, then incorrect information might get copied to your uh, other across object. So that's why it's recommended. For now, it's fine. Like before the update, you can keep it. But if they say like why you have not used after, you can say like it's on the same update we have done it because of that. Either way, technically you can do it in before the update as well. After all update as well, some people would advocate because of the reason like the violations would be there, and so it's possible like it would get failed due to some reason, and the consistency won't be maintained. It all depends like how the code is being written. So based on that, whatever is right or wrong would depend. But the logic would remain this same only. Are we clear with this scenario? 1 minute, sorry, I forgot to do the calling. Yeah. Actually, I want to use the switch statement. I think, are you aware of switch statement? For our audience, like it's recommended to use switch over the FLs because it's much more efficient. So in our example as well, today we have used the switch statement like switch on trigger dot operation type, and we have applied the when condition. If it is like after insert, we'll be calling our after insert. And if it's before the update, then we are adding before update. And the logic is simple, like we are getting all the opportunity from those opportunities, we are getting the account ID from account ID. We are putting it again to calculate the amount, get the amount, and then doing the sum, and then updating in the account field. So this is our very simple the scenario of opportunity sum that we want to write it back to account. We'll go over to another one. Let's see which one would be worth it. This will, I want to do it hands-on. This scenario hands-on will be much more worth it. Going to trigger that creates a follow-up task when opportunity statement. Okay. Let's see. Let's try this. What does the scenario say? Whenever the opportunity record is marked as closed one. So scenario means if we break it down, trigger it would be on trigger point is on update. But I will say on insert as well it should handle because whenever it is saying marked, so it could be like I can have in theory like I can create an opportunity with the state as closed one as well. So we have to consider worst case scenario. So we'll have to even on insert we can we have to add that check. The task should be created and whenever opportunity owner and a due date should be created based on the close date of the opportunity. Okay, so what we'll be doing is, well, I will just copy this structure and then make some changes on top of it. In interest of time. Yeah. So on opportunity account, whenever opportunity is marked as closed one. Closed one, it could be before insert, we can do that. No, we will need after. Because we want that task to be created on top of that opportunity. So when a new task, the scenario what it says is like you have an opportunity. If opportunity state name is changed to closed one, create new task. This is the scenario. Is it clear? What I am saying is making sense? or not. So when I create a task on opportunity, I should be means for the task I need to have the what ID. So what ID would I will need the opportunity ID. So for that purpose, I would need the ID. So for that reason, I will have to write the handle through the handling of after insert. So that's why I have the after insert with me. And the next is like whenever it's updated or it's like marked as closed one, the task will be created. So I can handle this in the before update as well. So it's not a problem. I have the interface with me. Now what logic I have to add is on the opportunity service. So I will have to create a task. So what do I do? First thing I need to do is I have to add a check like if that opportunity is closed one or not. Okay. So let's get started with this. I just want to process, be worried only on the closed one. Later we'll see like what logic has to be applied. Let me just apply the filtering first. Can someone tell me what's the problem like I would encounter if I reuse this method in above all the after insert and after before update? Can someone identify the problem?
Can you repeat, sir?
If I add this condition and add that logic, what would be the problem? What is the potential problem that would happen? And if I start creating, if those on those opportunities that are therein, I start creating the task, what would be the problem?
Suppose if you create like task, then there is no, when you update, then someone update close one to close one, then that create issue. Task create again and again for close one
Yes,
opportunity.
yes. Actually, what would happen is like you would have the state name as closed one, and if you do any other update, that time also the task would get created.
Yes.
So what we can do is we'll have a old for we need a map here. So we have the new map. So 1 minute. So what I will do is like I will here will not process the map itself. I will just use old map and new map. The reason being it would be far too complex. I can get this list from values as well. And I'm iterating on the new values and old values. I would do the comparison and no, not equal to null. And Yeah, I think this condition should be fine. Like when the opportunity stage is closed one, and either it is like if it is a before insert, then the opportunity my old opportunity should be null. Uh, then also it would be true and it would execute. And suppose if it is like an update scenario, then it would check like this condition is met, and then this would be false, and it would do the check like if the opportunity state is changed, then only it would actually do the evaluation. In theory, it looks like it's fine. So we got the closed one opportunities with us. Now what we need to do is for those opportunities, we need to create task. So first create list of. Okay. So for each of the opportunities, I need to create a task. So what I will be doing is I create a task. On the task, we had a few things. I think subject is there, and so just that will like it. What the scenario said, like its due date should be set on the based on the close date of the opportunity. Okay, close date of the opportunity. So I assume like it would be close date. We have a standard field. Then I should have the what ID. One more thing, like what ID and who ID are also known as polymorphic query, polymorphic relationship, I would say. Mhm. What are the other mandatory fields? Let's check like what are the what are the required fields? Assume subject is there and due date is needed and what ID we have status. Okay, yeah, status also we can set. Yeah. Status we can keep it as new because it needs to be followed. So I'm putting it as new. Then what I will do is like in this task list I would add that. And then at later I will just insert this. So what I had to do is, as per the scenario, whenever or it should be assigned to the opportunity owner. Okay. It's saying explicitly like you have to assign the owner should be opportunity owner only. So assign to ID or who ID to opportunity owner ID. I think it looks fine to me. I will just add one more check here. The only reason being if for some reason like you are inserting uh, opportunity, there means you are doing update and it's there are no closed opportunities, then this code won't execute. Task list will be empty and then empty list to try to insert and throw an exception. So here, like I will just what I will do, it needs the new and old. So old would be null, and here it would be I think this should work out. We'll try it in the or one, means in the hands-on workshop, and then it should be good. I think we are means are we clear on this one?
Yes.
Notice like the bulkification part, that is actually most critical. Here, like we are having it on bulk, like we're adding all the opportunities in one go, then creating all the tasks as well in all, and only one DML is there in insert. We are not doing any query.
I think in line number 16 there is trigger dot old map or new map.
Okay, sorry. I will have to update those. Yeah, sorry, my bad. I actually didn't update. Means I updated these signatures, but I forgot to update around that. Yeah. Old map. Around the trigger context variables, my take is always have a clear picture around the context variable considerations. It gives you a guideline like these are things you can't do. Like suppose this is the before update. You can actually do a update on that on the before variables. You here like can you update the original update? We are not doing any update. We are creating a new record. Can you delete? No, we can't delete. So this is a kind of a good link which I feel. So we can take help of this.
Okay, sir.
So on the very basics, like on the very thing purpose, like we don't have triggers. The trigger is a piece of code that gets called automatically whenever an update or any DML operation happens. So what happens on the trigger is the syntax is trigger name on object name and the content and then the callbacks. Callbacks like are like whenever the operation happens, you know the trigger point. So in Salesforce, we have like before insert, after insert, before update, after update, before delete, after delete, and also we have after undelete as well. See, before in before context variables, we only have the trigger.new, like the newly updated list. Trigger.new map would be null. Trigger.old would anyways be null only. Actually, I will search and I will share a particular table like which has like which context variables are present and which of those. After undelete would get executed, like when from the recycle when you want to restore at that time, this undelete would get executed. So in after, like as it's already mentioned in here, you can't actually do an update on the after, like on the trigger because it's read only. You would get a final exception actually when you try to update a trigger.new in the after context. So these are few of the, so this is a particular tabular format where it's mentioned like which variable will be available, which won't be available. All the callbacks also it's mentioned. Like in the before you will have only the trigger.new, all others won't be available, and after you will have the trigger this one. Trigger.new new map would be there, but old and old map won't be there in. Because the transition has already been completed. In the before you will have all of those, and after you will have all of those. So this is actually quite good. So let's cover one or two interview questions. See, trigger is good, but there are certain conditions like where the trigger won't get called. So like suppose you're changing a record type from like business account to person account, trigger won't get called at that time. Also, like when you're doing a mass transfer updates, mass transfer or mass updates, at that time also trigger won't get called. So it's clearly documented in the where of order of execution at the left side, you will also notice like operations that don't invoke trigger, which is where there is a catch. Mass transfer, mass approvals, mass email actions, is price works. So in such scenarios, trigger won't get called. So and important another important part is like this person account when we do updates on that, it would call the account triggers only, not the contact triggers. Now another question that comes up is like why you should go with trigger and not with flows. See, flows are like good to use with less volume, it's fine. But as per the architect.salesforce, it's very documented like where you have the huge volume and you need a large amount of data to be processed, and large you need high performance, go with trigger. That and the background for that is like in the flow, there's a limit around how many nodes elements it could execute in a particular transaction, which is around 2000 elements only it can run. So that's why like complex calculation where there's like too much data is there and it's preferred to go with triggers. And performance wise also, if you see like Apex triggers are much more faster compared to flows. So that's the only reason like we go with triggers. But there is one misconception that I would like to make it very clear. Trigger also does the bulkification when you are using it with the Apex classes. Like from the flows, if you're calling the normal regular class, at that time bulkification does happen. Salesforce is smart enough to do that for you. And in triggers as well, we do the bulkification.